Right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to today's Planning Committee meeting. I'm Councillor Caroline Karimi-Gavonlu, and I will be chairing the planning meeting today. At the top table are Martin Clark, Planning Officer, Helen Bowman, Principal Planning Officer, Tracy Lincoln, Development Manager, Councillor Eleanor Lamming, Vice Chair, and Leah Arthurton, Democratic Services. We are not expecting a fire drill today, but if the alarm does sound, the fire exits are clearly signed in green. This meeting is being live streamed. Members of the public are welcome to film proceedings as long as they are not disruptive to the conduct of the meeting. If anyone wishes to film, record this meeting, please identify yourself now. Okay, thank you. Please can you ensure all your mobile phones and electronic devices are turned to silent. Councillors, please do not use your mobile phone whilst the committee is in session. We will have a comfort break at various times throughout the meeting. If you must use your mobile, then please leave the room. However, you will appreciate that this could result in you not being able to vote on the matter under discussion at the time you leave the room. The order of business is set out on the agenda. Members of the public can only speak if prior arrangements have been made. I understand we have no public speaking here today, so that's fine. The order will be as follows. The planning officer will present the application. Public speakers, as we don't have any, will be followed by questions from members of the committee to clarify something the speaker has said and not to invite the speaker to put further points across. The order of public speaking is parish, town, council first, followed by objectors and finally supporters, e.g. the applicant or the agent. Council members who are not members of this committee will then be invited to speak for the allocated time of a maximum of 5 minutes for each speaker. This will be followed by questions from members of the committee. Again, these questions will only be to clarify something the speaker has said and not to invite the speaker to put further points across. The committee will then discuss and determine the application. Anybody have any questions before I open the meeting? Okay. Could I ask, has anybody got any declarations of interests on this one application? I have to declare declaration of interest because I sat in on the planning committee, but I did not comment on anything relating to this application. Do we have apologies?
Yes, Chair, we've got apologies from Councillor Auber and Councillor Tipple.
Thank you. And could I ask you to confirm the minutes of the meeting held on the 11th of October? Is everybody happy with those minutes, please? Is any matters arising from those minutes? No? Okay. Right, we'll carry on. We'll get to application 1, which is 2023/2676 Taverham, 13 Rossens Road. If I could ask Helen to present, please.
Thank you very much. Okay, can everyone hear okay? Yeah, is that okay with my voice?
An improvement, Sharon.
Okay, excellent.
I'm glad.
So this application is 13 Rossens Road in Taverham. It's an existing detached bungalow with some existing accommodation in the roof. It's already got a rear dormer, so that's just a little bit of a context here in terms of the aerial view. So just in terms of the existing bungalow, we've got existing dormer. We've got a single-storey sort of conservatory extension at the moment. That is going to be demolished. And there's existing garage as well. So what they're doing is they're extending out 4.17 centimetres out to the rear. So the extension will come along it to be in line with the neighbour's 1.5-storey extension. It will be a flat-roofed extension with a lantern in the roof. Okay, so we'll just go through to the drawings. So the extension comes out here in line with the boundary. There will be a small high-level window to the side, which you won't be able to see out of because of the height. There is a window here, which you'll note in the report. They're moving their bathroom window to the side. That is actually permitted development. It doesn't require planning permission, so they can do that without planning permission. So it's on the drawings, but it doesn't actually require consent. They're also slightly extending their dormer window and extending it slightly down there so they can get some stairs up to the first floor. So we've got the extension coming out here, the new slightly extended here, extending the dormer and making the bedroom slightly bigger, and just putting the stairs in. Okay. In terms of obviously the design, flat roofed extensions at the rear, it's already got a dormer. It's not going to have an impact on the street scene because all that works to the rear, and they're very commonplace in Taydrum to have that type of extension. So in design terms, it's acceptable. We have obviously had concern from one of the neighbouring properties, this one here, with the existing extension, concerned about loss of daylight and sunlight to their bedroom window to the side, overshadowing, possible light interference from windows and noise from running water in the toilet. So as we previously said, the window to the side, if we just go through the photographs, there's bushes in the way, but you can just see the kind of context here. This is the neighbour's extension that comes out here. This is probably one of the better photographs. Obviously, the extension will basically come out in line with that. This building will go. This is the window that's of particular concern, which is the bedroom window to the neighbour. So obviously, in terms of overlooking of things, the bathroom window is permitted development, so that's not under consideration. The high level window in the extension will look out onto this blank gable wall, and it will be at high level, so you won't be able to see out of it, just normally being in the room. So we consider there's no sort of overlooking impacts. In terms of the fact that there will obviously be an extension that's going in front of their window now, there obviously will be some impact, but it is only single storey. It also has a flat roof, which will reduce its impact. So we consider that impact to be acceptable, but it's also important to consider what they could do under permitted development. If the extension was 10 centimetres shorter and 17 centimetres not as deep, then it would be permitted development, and that would have a very similar impact. In addition to that, you could also, if you brought down the eaves, put a pitched roof on here and have quite under permitted development, and have quite a significant impact on the neighbour, which would be far greater than what actually we've got before us today. So obviously taking that into consideration, and actually it is single storey, and there would still be some light coming over there. The other thing to obviously bear in mind is they could put 2 metre fence right along that boundary without requiring permission, which again would have a impact on that window. Given all those considerations, we are recommending approval for the application and consider those impacts to be acceptable on the neighbouring property. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for the officer, please? Councillor Hempsall.
So just for clarity, the application is here just because it's fractionally larger than what it would be under permitted development. Is that correct? The footprint is slightly bigger.
Yeah, it was obviously called in by the local member, which is why it's for you today. But actually, if it was 10 centimetres, which obviously a very small amount, shorter, and if it was 17 centimetres less, came out 17 centimetres less, then it would be permitted development and not actually require planning permission at all. So most of that impact is actually coming from, would be something that would be permitted development and not require planning permission. I'm sure they've just brought it out to that level so they match with the neighbouring neighbour's extension, to be honest. But
Anybody else? Personally, I'm quite happy with the application. Oh, sorry. Councillor Baby.
Already state that there is a
a degree of impact on neighbor amenity through the shadowing and loss of light. If new dwelling come, will it affect very badly, or how do you differentiate?
There obviously will be some impact because obviously there will be a built form here, but it is only single storey, so you still get light that would come over the top of that extension. So there will be, but it wouldn't be a particularly significant impact. And you know, you could have, they've got quite a low fence here. They could have a 2 metre fence right on that boundary, which would take, you know, it would take all that, would block most of that out from the light out from the neighbour in any event. And generally with most properties, you'd expect there to be an fence between the two properties. You know, it's not an unusual thing for people to have a at least a 1.8 metre fence along the boundary between properties. So, so we don't consider that. There is some impact, and we need to acknowledge that, but it's not what we would consider significant enough to refuse.
I think we need to remember under permitted development, they could extend and have a pitch roof, which would be less light going through, but they're having a flat roof, so more light will be able to go in from the top. Councillor Vincent.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Just a clarification, if I may, please. It's around the concern about overlooking from the bathroom window to and the impact on the neighbour's bedroom window. Could you explain a bit more about that, please?
Well, it doesn't require planning permission, so we can't consider it here today. So we haven't imposed any conditions in terms of obscure glazing because it doesn't require planning permission. It is their intention to obscure glaze it, and I'm sure that the risk of someone looking into their bathroom means that they will that impact is going to be much greater on them than it is actually on the neighbouring property. So you can put windows in at ground floor level just without requiring planning permission. So we can't consider that as part of this application.
Councillor Leggett.
I think the neighbour, it's already a bathroom at the moment. They're obviously just moving the window as part of this extension. So there is obviously water flowing from that area in any event. It would just be the bath or the shower. So it's not going to be a significant amount of water, and it's not something that would be a particular concern. Obviously, most people's neighbours have got water coming out of their bathroom. It's not particularly noisy, so it's a detached property. So it's not something that really has any. We can really give any weight to.
As the officer said, it is already a wet room and has a shower and toilet.
I see.
Yeah.
I see.
Okay.
Thank
you.
Only I noticed that Councillor Clancy made very strong points about overbearing and neighbourly resulting overlooking a loss of light, but I think you have clarified that. Were there any other points that he raised on that?
No, I think you covered all those.
You've covered all those.
Yes, thanks.
Thank you, Chair.
Councillor Lunning.
Yes, I mean, I think we need to recognise that it's going to have an impact of some degree on the neighbours, but the overall development meets the policy for Broadland for good design. The extension's certainly satisfactory in principle, and surrounding properties have been extended in the area anyway. It seems the materials are in keeping with the dwelling. There's going to be little or no impact on the street scene. And it's only very slightly larger than would be acceptable under permitted development. So I'd be very happy to support approval of this application.
You're going to
Yes, I'm happy to propose that we put forward that this application is approved.
Okay, and seconded by Councillor Baby. All those in favour, please. That's unanimous.
looks to be unanimous.
Yeah. Thank you very much. That ends the applications. I think we just need to go on to planning appeals, which I'm going to ask Tracy to do.
Yeah, really just to note, so you've got on page 18 of your report, the appeals received, and so we have received an appeal for tree works application in Tayroom. You'll note that the decision was a part approved, part refused decision, so it was a refusal on removal of two hawthorns and a Scots pine, and approval of various works to those trees listed in the proposal section of your agenda. And then the appeal decisions received. Note appeal dismissed at land at Brundle, Riverdale, Strumpshaw Road. That was a single dwelling backland development. Inspector concluded harm in terms of character in line with the officer recommendation. The character of the area at that point is very much linear, and that introduced an introduction of development as backland. Furthermore, in terms of our policy GC2, which obviously is our settlement boundaries, no development outside of that unless there's policies to support that. The inspector concluded in our favour in that, notwithstanding there are services and facilities in close proximity in that location, found there was harm in terms of that policy GC2 around our hierarchy of settlement boundaries. So it was a good decision for us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. If there's nothing else, I shall close the meeting at 9:48.